Lovelies. So today I'm going to show you how I make my Nigerian buttercream recipe that has a 7 days shelf life and is suitable for any weather condition. It is not going to crack, it is not going to melt, it is very stable. So if you're new to my vlog channel, welcome. My name is Susan and this is where I share all my commercial recipes on cakes, small chops, food tray, commercial drinks, and so much more. So yes, this is that one channel that you want to subscribe to if you want to go very far in your business, your baking business or confectionery business in 2025. So without wasting much time, let's dive into today's video on how to make this most stable, very easy, beginner friendly Nigerian buttercream recipe with tips you've never heard here on YouTube. So let's get started. So to begin, I'm going to be using margarine. Yes, margarine is popular to us here in Nigeria and most African countries. So I'm using margarine. Then the next thing I'll be using flavor. Now I'm using two types of flavors. This one is a base flavor. This is vanilla flavor, and this one is butterscotch. I like using two flavors when I'm making buttercream. Most times, instead of using butterscotch, I use milk flavor, or milk zest. It gives me a different unique taste. Now you always use a base flavor, which is vanilla. That is, you can always add vanilla is a base flavor, then you add another flavor, another secondary flavor that will complement your vanilla flavor. Make sure any other flavor you introduce, any other secondary flavor, make sure it complements your vanilla flavor. Then next I'll be using water or milk. Now if you want your buttercream to last for 7 days, if you want your buttercream frosting, your Nigerian buttercream to last for 7 days, use water in place of milk. Anything that you add milk to, any baked item or frosting you add milk to, it reduces the shelf life of that baked item or frosting. Shelf life means the number of time that particular item can stay without being kept in the fridge or in the freezer. So that's the shelf life. Then next I'll be using a sky blue color. You can use any food coloring of your choice. Remember, I'm using food coloring, so I'm using a sky blue color because I am doing something and I want to use a shade of blue, so I'm using sky blue. Then next I'll be using icing sugar or confectionery sugar. Now this has been sieved. It has been sieved. I sieved it, then I measured it first before sieving. Now why do you sieve? You sieve it to remove lumps. I only sieve my icing sugar when I'm making frostings like buttercream, whipped cream, sweet meringue, and some other frostings. When I'm making fondant, I don't sieve it, but for this, make sure you sieve it for your buttercream so that you eliminate any form of lumps. Then before you sieve, you measure your icing sugar. Why do we measure our icing sugar? Now over the years I've discovered that our 1 kg icing sugar here in Nigeria, I'm not sure if it applies to other African countries, but our 1 kg icing sugar in Nigeria is not usually up to 1 kg. Sometimes you have 950, sometimes you have 970. Yes, that is how bad it is. So I see that they calculate the packaging, calculate the packaging and add the packaging to the total weight of the icing sugar. That's the reason why I usually measure, because if your recipe is right and at the end of the day your buttercream is not coming out stable, it means there's something wrong with your items. And I've discovered most times, especially with my on-site students that the result is with the icing sugar if you not measure it very well. So because of this, it is advisable that you measure your icing sugar so that you know that it's giving you the accurate measurement. Now the link to the written recipe is going to be in the description box of this video. A link to the written recipe will be in the description box of this particular video, so do well to check it out. So special shout out to my recipe page, because this is the recipe that belongs to my recipe page and I'm adapting it here on this vlog channel so that we can all learn. And this is the only Nigerian buttercream recipe that you will ever use. It is very stable for any kind of weather, especially we here in Africa. It's very stable during the rainy season, during the dry season. This is very stable. So the first thing you need to do is to measure out all your items. Like I've already measured them out. The only item I did not measure out is my food coloring. Now I'm using food coloring. Don't use any other kind of color that is not food grade coloring. So these are all the items measured out, and then the water is not measured out. I'll tell you the reason later. So like I said, you can use either water or milk. So let's get right into the recipe. So to begin making our Nigerian buttercream recipe, like I said, measure out your icing sugar, make sure it's accurate according to what's written in the recipe, and then you are going to sieve it. You sieve it to remove lumps. You want to have a very smooth icing at the end of the day. You want to have a very smooth buttercream at the end of the day. Now I always use Acabado brand of icing sugar. I'm not trying to promote any brand, but it is a promotion. We are welcome for collaborations. So I usually use Acabado icing sugar and use a good brand of margarine. My go-to margarine is usually Taruna or Valido or More or Roda. So these are the four margarine that I usually use when making. So the next thing I usually do again is to add my margarine into my icing sugar, just like this. Now yes, you must have watched our American and Londonian colleagues who usually first of all start by whipping their butter well until it's very fluffy before they add their icing sugar. Yes, you can. I also do that too sometimes. I first of all whip my butter or my margarine well so it is very fluffy. It is very fluffy before I add my icing sugar. But this is another way again that you can do it. You can save yourself all the stress. Why I'm not doing that right now is because I don't want to whip or over cream my buttercream. Yes, if you over cream or over whip your buttercream, you're going to have hair pockets in your buttercream, and you don't want that. You don't want hair pockets at all. So you want to whip it according to the timing so that you don't have hair pockets. I have an online buttercream class and an online fondant class. It teaches you how to cover your cake perfectly in buttercream with tips that you've never heard before on YouTube. Also, the class teaches you how to write, how to do your buttercream calligraphy, and so many other things. So if you want to sign up, you can sign up via the link I'm going to also leave in the description box of this video. So sign up. So let me know where you're watching my video from. Let me know what else you want me to share on my commercial recipes on my vlog channel, and do me a big favor and subscribe to our recipe channel, Sussy's Cake Recipe. You're going to see link also in the description box of this video. That is where I share everything no fail recipes for bakers, event vendors, small shops vendors, food trade vendors, and the like. Next thing I'm going to do is to mix this well with using my spatula to mix this well. The reason why I'm doing this mixing is to prevent my icing sugar from littering around when I decide to mix it with my hand mixer. Now if you don't have a hand mixer, that's good and fine. You can use a wooden stick, a regular Nigerian wooden stick, or you can use a hand whisk to whisk it, but I'm going to use an electric hand whisk to whisk mine. So if you're using an electric hand mix like I'm going to be doing, or if you're going to be using a stand mixer, you turn it this way so that the icing sugar is incorporated well into your butter to give you something like a paste kind of texture. At the end of the day, it should look like this, like a breadcrumb texture. So I've mixed in the butter or the margarine. I'm mixing the margarine well. The next thing I'm going to be adding is my flavor, starting with my vanilla flavor. You can start with your secondary flavor. There are no reason for starting with vanilla first. Then I'm adding the secondary flavor now, which is the butterscotch. Then I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of water. So if you're using milk too, you're going to add 1 tablespoon at a time. 1 tablespoon at a time. The tablespoon I'm using is a standard measuring tablespoon, a standard baker's measuring tablespoon. Just your regular rice eating tablespoon. Then I'm now going to also mix this well. The reason why I'm mixing it like this is just to reduce the spread of icing sugar when I start mixing properly with my mixer. If you look at this closely, you see the texture is different. I've not used my mixer at all yet. I'm going to connect my hand mixer and I'm going to mix on the lowest speed of my hand mixer first. Please remember to check the description box of this video for a detailed written recipe of all the items and the measurements. Next, I'll be adding another tablespoon of water. We're adding water or milk, 1 tablespoon at a time, and we're going to mix in at each interval so we get the consistency we want. Now, when you're making buttercream, there are different consistency. You're going to learn that when you join the buttercream class on Telegram. There are different consistencies. There's a consistency for covering cake. There's a consistency for filling of cakes. There's a consistency for writing. So when you are mixing with your mixer, always make sure you scrape the side of your bowl using your spatula. This way, you're not going to have any icing sugar that is not well incorporated into your buttercream mix. And that's what I forgot to say is why after incorporating the butter or the margarine into the icing sugar well, I went ahead to increase the speed of my hand mixer to medium, and that's what I used to whip the buttercream till I got to this consistency. Now look at how smooth this is. Look at how smooth this is. Now this is very stable. You can use this for any season, any weather condition, whether it's hot, whether it's cold. If it's hot, if it's a hot weather condition, it's not going to melt your icing sugar. And this is the consistency I'm going to use to be covering our cake. Like I told you, there are different consistency for covering cake. This one is perfect for covering your cake. Now let's say you want to store this for later, like you're not using it now, want to store this for later. Like I said, this Nigerian buttercream recipe has a 7 days plus shelf life. So if you want to store this for later, just scoop it into a container that has a lid and cover it and keep it in a place that's away from direct sunlight. Trust me, nothing is going to happen to it. The taste is going to be perfect. When you want to use it, when you're ready to use it, just take your spatula like this and just mix it together and your buttercream is ready to go. So you can always do it like this in large quantity and keep, if you have orders back to back, and do it and keep, and then dish from it and color. So yes, this is a base recipe. Now you can tweak this base recipe. Trust me, there's so many things you can do with this base recipe of buttercream. And if you join the buttercream class, you're going to get access to those things. Now I did not finish up my water You can see I didn't finish up my water, and this is the consistency you are going to get. Now make sure you click on the link in the description box of this video for a detailed recipe. Also, if you want to see what I did with this buttercream, then you need to click on the link to my recipe channel. You're going to see the cake I decorated with this buttercream. So the next thing I want to teach you is how to color this base Nigerian buttercream recipe. If you have been following my recipe page, you are going to know that I do not add preservative to any of my baked treats. So you might be wondering, okay, how then will this buttercream last 7 days? Now, this buttercream, Nigerian buttercream or your regular buttercream, the major ingredient there is icing sugar and butter. Now, the icing sugar you're using is made up of just sugar and an anti-caking agent like corn flour. So sugar is a natural preservative. It preserves your baked treat, preserve your fruits naturally, and the ratio of sugar to anti-caking agents in your icing sugar is very very high. So this is the guarantee that you have that your icing sugar, your buttercream, is not going to go bad even after 7 days. Yes, you had me. Also, I'm going to be adding my color. I'm going to teach you how to color your buttercream. When you're adding color, make sure you add a little at a time till you get the shade you want. If you add it too much, you're going to end up with bitter buttercream, and you do not want that. So I just want this lighter shade of sky blue. So I scooped out a portion into a smaller bowl, a portion of my icing sugar, a portion of my Nigerian buttercream into a smaller bowl like this, and I'm going to be using a spatula to mix this up well. Now you want to mix this very well till all the color is well incorporated. Then if you're not satisfied with the shade of the color, you can now go ahead to add more color. So don't add much at a time. You're going to end up with bitter Nigerian buttercream. So just add little at a time, mix it in well. If you're not satisfied with the shade, then you go in and add more. That is one trick. I saw the way I'm mixing it. I'm not just doing how I put it, not rough. I'm just doing like a folding. See, the reason I'm doing this is you want to be careful of to avoid hair pockets. You don't want hair pockets in your buttercream. Trust me, I've been there. So you do not want air pockets in your buttercream. You want it smooth, you want it pliable so that you can use later. See, this is exactly the shade of color of sky blue I was expecting. If you watched my video to this point, please do me a big favor to subscribe to this vlog channel. Leave me in the comment section where you're watching my video from, and I promise you I'm going to leave a very big shout out in my next recipe video. Also share my video, like my video, and invite your friends, because yes, this is where I share undiluted, no fail commercial recipes from time to time, and you want to turn on that notification bell so that you do not miss out whenever I share my recipes. So ladies and gents, here we have our colored Nigerian buttercream and then our uncolored or base Nigerian buttercream, and this can stay on your shelf for more than 7 days. And that is how we make our Nigerian buttercream recipe that has a 7 days plus shelf life. So if you're watching my video to this point, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave me hi and in the comment section if you just subscribe, and I'll give you a special shout out in my next video. Bye for now.